The customer journey today takes place online. It's a non-linear path that consists of a series of questions and answers. That sounds pretty simple, but we found a way to make it pretty complex. That's because the customer journey has become about trying to hit people with the perfect ad on the perfect platform at the perfect time. We like to call that personalization. But if you think about it, that's talking at them based on what we think they want. So wouldn't it be more productive to talk with customers based on what we know they want? Don't get me wrong. Personalization and targeted advertising certainly have a role in the digital customer journey. However, the future of delivering a relevant personal experience to your customers is about investing time and resources in search. But not your father's search from 20 or even 5 years ago. Investing in a modern search experience means you'll truly understand your customer's intent and deliver the right specific answers, not ads, every single time. Now, I'm going to show you what I mean by sharing my own personal customer journey online. I could talk to you about any number of purchases that I've made recently, but we all know puppies make everything better. So, here's the story of my family's online journey to get our new puppy, Otis. The research for the perfect pup began this spring when, like many of us road warriors, my nonstop traveling lifestyle had officially come to a screeching halt thanks to COVID. We'd been talking about getting a dog for a year or so, but the guilt of being gone so much held us back until it became clear we would be home all day, every day. We wanted a small, hypoallergenic, take-anywhere type of dog. You know, the one everybody wants. I knew a couple of breeds that might fit the bill, but being new to this process, I had far more questions than answers. What do all of these doodle variations mean? What's the right breed for people with really bad dog allergies? F1B, F2B, mini, toy, mid-sized? Cue Google. Google could only get me so far, so this was the perfect opportunity for an expert like the American Kennel Club to answer my questions and cut out the opinion and noise from a basic Google search. Now, they have a ton of information, but their website is not that easy to navigate, and not all of their recommendations were relevant to me. So, like we've all become accustomed to, I would bounce off their site and back to Google, where I'd end up on random third-party sites. Not to mention a slew of ads trying to sell me a bunch of dog products for a pup I didn't even have yet. In fact, those ads followed me around the internet, which was a constant reminder that my search was not panning out. So after a week or two, I was definitely on the ads radar. And I guess you can say they worked because they kept reminding me to keep looking. But they weren't actually answering my biggest questions. And neither was the American Kennel Club. They could have kept me on their site throughout my entire journey by providing me an easier way to get my questions answered. But instead, I had to bounce out to Google to do my searching. And I still came up empty. I was still very high intent, but my frustration was getting even higher. The AKC could have been the hero, but they failed to understand what I really wanted. Now that we were officially en route to being puppy parents, we actually had to prepare for life with a dog. Now, I'm very much a planner, so I hopped back online to make sure we had everything we needed, beyond the more obvious must-have lists we received from the breeder. I wanted to make sure we had all the latest gizmos and gadgets. So I spent hours researching everything from the best ergonomic dog bowls to the sturdiest collars. Similar to my journey to find the right dog type, I went to the experts for the right dog accoutrements, Chewy.com. Now, Chewy might have had everything I needed, but they didn't necessarily understand what exactly I needed. For instance, we spend a lot of time outdoors here in Colorado. So naturally, I wanted to find a collar leash set that could withstand the elements and the gnawing habits of a puppy. But the website couldn't give me a direct answer. I tried all the facets and filters Chewy has on their e-commerce site, but I did not get the information I needed. In fact, a few times I was even shown cat food options for small cats. What? Talk about a major search fail. So I abandoned my search on Chewy.com, but then the good old personalization overloads kicked into high gear based on my searches on Chewy.com. I started to see ads in my social feed for outdoorsy dog brands. Now, this was a welcomed intrusion. Where Google and Chewy weren't able to deliver, retargeting social ads did, and introduced me to brands I wouldn't have otherwise known to search for. But while I eventually got what I needed, Chewy.com could have made this so much easier. Imagine if I had walked into the store and asked about durable collars for puppies to the sales associate, and they pointed me to the cat section. That sounds absurd, but that's essentially what happened to me in their digital store. Their search capabilities didn't understand my specific need, and the fact that I was probably a high-intent buyer. So, like the manager would be furious with an employee who let a ready-to-buy customer leave the building, why do we, as marketers, allow our websites to do the same exact thing? Thanks to all the retargeting ads, we got all of the supplies we needed in advance of Otis's homecoming. The big day came mid-October. We were psyched. But as you can imagine, after just the first few hours, we had a ton more questions. How many times a night will our puppy need to go out? Should we proactively wake up or just wait for him to bark and whine? How many times a day should we feed him? What's the right balance of training treats? Once again, I relied heavily on Google to get the answers. And wouldn't you know it, I started seeing ads from the AKC. But since my last search experience was so subpar, I didn't have faith they could answer some of my most common questions of new and prospective pet owners. Their mission is to provide dog owners and the general public quality education about purebred dogs. But without a robust, modern search experience, they end up leaving their patrons in the dark. But nonetheless, the AKC was willing to pay to get me back. But that's where things are broken. Targeting me, a previously churned customer, with ads after failing me previously doesn't fix things. Answering my question with a direct answer in my moment of need is the real personalization that would keep me coming back for free. I think you're starting to get the point. Ads and personalization require tons of data and resources to get right, but they still can be so far off the mark. For instance, does that Google ad come with an apology for a bad previous experience? Of course it doesn't. So it really isn't personalized after all. After 20 years, Google has trained us well. We go there first, we type in questions, and we get a sea of links that hopefully lead us to the answers we seek. For brands, this has been a game changer. By targeting people based on their queries, a brand can make a big splash, but it comes with a pretty big price. And the price tag really stings when they are paying to win back a customer they just lost off their own site. The AKC and Chewy.com are two of the countless examples of brands with outdated search on their websites, which eventually leads to customer churn. It's crazy to think of how many businesses settle for the subpar experience, all the while shelling out tons of money to accumulate every morsel of data on their customers so they can spend more money to target them with personalized ads. If you want to make 2021 the year when your brand delivers the most personalized customer experience yet, search is the answer. But not just any search experience. Search that is truly modern and that will keep your customers on your site instead of causing them to bounce back to Google. So, what does it take to create a modern search experience? First, your website needs to have universal search, meaning your users can search for anything from one search box. What do you see when you go to Google? That's right, a single search bar where every single search begins. If brands have multiple places to search, they've already failed. Next, you need a search experience that understands natural language. Because of advances in AI, people no longer type random keywords into a search box. They use multiple words and ask questions the way they might when they're talking to another human. And if you have a voice-enabled assistant at home, like Alexa, you're definitely asking questions in a more natural, conversational way. People have come to expect this ability from search engines, and they're going to need to do the same on your own website. Finally, your search results need to give a complete, relevant answer, not just a list of blue links to other pages. Your UI should be dynamic so that the answers are accurate and up to date. You don't want to deliver old or outdated answers. Otherwise, you'll be pegged as unreliable. And you guessed it, you'll just send your customers back to Google once again. These three ingredients make up the recipe for truly modern search. But really, if you take away just one thing from today, besides what a great dog mom I am, it's all of this comes down to listening to what your customers really want and making sure that you're able to deliver them the answers they seek when they seek them. And while you might not win every search on Google, You should win every search on your own website. That is the future of personalization.